Aboard the flagship, Magneto sees Sue Storm approaching and decides to take her hostage to control the Fantastic Four when he's told he cannot win. Looking back, he tells Xavier that he's already won when the professor retorts that they will eventually see through his trickery. However, he knows too well of the animosity between the Fantastic Four and the Submariner and is prepared to make use of it. Turning to one of the Fantastic Four's vehicles, we see Sue Storm as she loses control of it and metal begins flying everywhere. Raising a force field to protect herself, she also notes that the ship is slowing down. Magneto finishes lowering the vessel while Charles admonishes him, saying that the Invisible Girl could be the most powerful member. Dismissing Charles, though, he claims Sue as his prisoner. Xavier warns that Sue will force Reed and Namor to put their differences aside. Magneto has already factored that in, though, and reveals there's another part to his plan. We turn to Angel as he is once again trying to get Lucy to free his friends, though she repeats that doing so would kill them, which he refuses to believe when he hears his name called. Turning, he sees the professor, who informs him of what's happening with the world and asks about the team. Angel brings him up to date about Tobias and how he doesn't know where the first team are, but that the rest are locked in the cryopods. However, Xavier recognizes the name Tobias as Angel reveals that Lucy is part of the Promise and how she's finished with the group. Reading her mind, he sees that she believes that there's no way to free the others, but also sees that she's wrong and begins giving instructions. Switching to the X-Men, we see them getting overwhelmed by the Mole Man's onslaught of underground monsters. Jean feels useless as her powers aren't working on the creatures, while Iceman notices that the Subterraneans are unaffected by his ice powers at all when the Mole Man hears him and affirms his statement. He reveals that the creatures can withstand any extreme temperature and that he'll not lose like the first time when Beast asks him how he even remembers their first meeting, as he and Tyrannus had lost their memories. Yelling that the mists used on him were but a temporary effect, Cyclops notices him inching towards an instrument panel, and Bobby moves to stop him. Freezing the Mole Man's hand, he is already too late as the floor beneath them opens up, surprising them. Iceman moves to create a floor when they're all struck by a painful noise disorienting them. The room they've fallen into is a natural echo chamber, as the Subterraneans are ordered to convey the unconscious heroes to another room where he plans on finishing them off at last. Returning to Terry, her daughter comes into the room and asks about the professor, but is told that he's merely meditating. Leaving Charles, Terry goes to take her daughter to school when she asks why she can't tell anyone that the professor is there, and Terry remembers the mental blocks on her daughter. Ashley tries to get her mother's attention and asks when Xavier will be leaving, and after a pause she replies that though she doesn't know, hopes it isn't soon. Back with Angel, Lucy is hesitant to free the others as Charles reassures her, telling her that the alterations that they made should fool the machine into thinking 10 years have passed, releasing Havoc. Checking the readouts, Warren confirms the plan is working when he notices something. Pulling Lucy away, he shouts that Havoc was placed in there without his suit, and his powers are building to critical levels as the professor tries to defuse them. However, there is a gigantic explosion which destroys much of the room, leaving nothing but burning rubble and debris. Emerging from their hiding spot, Angel is awed by his friend's powers when Lucy spots Alex emerging from the ruins, mumbling about fighting monsters. Angel approaches him, cluing him into how the monsters were merely illusions of each other. Continuing that they need to find the other X-Men, Alex asks about Lorna when Lucy finds that her pod was damaged and her life signs are deteriorating. Yelling that they need to get her out, Warren tries to calm him as Lucy brings out his uniform for him to control his powers, as Charles asks what can be done about Lorna. Checking the readings, Lucy sees the other pods are damaged but could be repaired in hours. Charles then urges the two X-Men to head to New York to deal with Magneto, but Havoc refuses, wanting to free Lorna. Warren chimes in that he'd rather find the others as the Fantastic Four are dealing with Magneto, and reluctantly agreeing, Charles has Lucy inform Warren on where to begin looking for the others and tells Havoc to head to New York as he's needed there. Alex refuses again, though Lucy interrupts him, telling him that there's nothing he can do there and uses her powers to influence him to go. Warren asks if she forced him to go, but she cuts him off and she begins showing him how to find the others. Later, Angel is flying down the tunnel, marveling at its size, and is afraid it may be a while before he finds the others when a cloud of dust surrounds him. Turning to stone and falling, Pixie appears, apologizing to him, saying that he can't be going through the network of tunnels. The man with her, Icarus, lifts Warren as Pixie says that the tunnels were abandoned by deviants, which is why the Mole Man can use them easily. Icarus realizes that the Mole Man used the technology there to move the X-Men, as Pixie confides in him that she's worried about the X-Men and those like them. Assuming she means mutants, Icarus knows that they've been appearing in greater numbers and that it's a sign. Icarus leaves Angel and tells her that they should keep an eye on mutants. Turning to Havoc, Charles knows that the Submariner has only attacked the Fantastic Four, yet occupied much of Manhattan, though the citizens might be willing to attack anyone not human. He tells Havoc to meet in Battery Park, which confuses him as he turns around to see the Professor gone. Heading to the meeting area, he's wary of the citizens and Atlanteans as he turns a corner to find a platoon of soldiers. Moving quick, he blindsides the troops and congratulates himself when he hears someone yell that they found a mutant. Turning, he sees a crowd as someone shouts that the mutants are working with the Submariner. Trying to calm them, he says he's part of the X-Men and there to help, but the crowd starts turning violent. A man punches Havoc and he goes down when others begin clubbing him. The mob stomps on him when he starts to lose control of his power. The crowd, afraid of his abilities, try to kill him when Havoc's power manifests. Releasing his power, he knocks all the people back, angry that he had to hurt them when he's spotted again. Looking over, he sees more people when they see the fallen mob around him and assume the worst. Forced to run as he knows they won't listen to him, he hurries to find Xavier. Turning to the Professor, his fears are confirmed as he sees Magneto has captured both the Invisible Girl and Namor's love, Lady Dorma, when he hears the evil mutant ask of Namor the whereabouts of the Fantastic Four. Ignoring the question, the prince demands that the prisoners be released. Magneto, though, says he will do so after seeing that Reed Richards has been taught a lesson, and says that if the Fantastic Four resist them, they must be destroyed.